Alright guys, this is Mr. Eicher back again. I'm going to show you my melee leveling spec for my rogue. It's nothing awesome, I just wanted to show it to you. What it is 8, 44, 24. I went to 8 in Blade Dancer to pick up the Flash of Steel. Wore 2 combo points into the 20-meter charge. Pretty efficient, especially if you level rapidly, next mob, next mob, next mob kind of playstyle. What I did was I picked up quick reflexes for 5% dodge, 5% attack power, 5% weapon damage. Then I picked up strike back, which every time you dodge, parry. Can't deflect because you're not going to be using guardian phase. So anytime you dodge or parry, you have a 100% chance to attack the enemy with both your weapons. And it's a pretty nice little damage buff. Reprisal, anytime you dodge or parry an attack, you can use this nice little item. What it does is it's off the global cooldown, so put it in your spam macro. It awards 1 combo point, and it gives you a pretty nice little chunk of damage. Um, Super awesome defense, like especially if you're AoE grinding mobs, sidesteps, 50% chance to dodge all incoming attacks for 50 seconds. That combined with strike back provides a decent AoE damage. Pretty cool. I went 24 Rift Stalker so I could pick up the Shadow Stalk. So you have 4 rogue teleports. One puts you forward 15 meters, but the other 3 puts you on your target. Shadow Stalk can go on hostile or friendly unit, and it removes all crowd control effects on you. Um, the other 2 are Shadow Blitz, which is AoE 10 mobs, gives you 2 combo points, and Shadow Assault, 1 mob, gives you 2 combo points. What I did was I went 10% attack power, 10% weapon damage. Next one, I went booster recovery, which increases all healing on you by 6%. And whenever you kill a target, you get 150% of your attack power as a heal over time effect. Pretty cool to keep your health sustained. For fillers, I went 6% endurance for that too. Next one, I obviously picked up Shadow Assault, so kind of already went over that one. Next one is Planar Boost. Anytime you get a 5th combo point or you use a combo point generating ability when you already have 5, you get a stacking buff. It increases your damage 2% per stack, stacks 5 times, 10% damage buff for 30 seconds. Pretty cool, especially if you're chaining mobs over and over and over. You can pretty much keep that up full time. Next one I picked up was Stalker Phase. Just having the buff active increases all damage and healing done by you by 5% and reduces all threat generated by you by 50%. We're not really worrying about the threat generation output as much as we are the damage and healing buff. Now for the active part of it, anytime you use a shadow ability, your 3 teleports or your shadow shift puts you forward 15 meters, you gain a pretty cool buff that lasts 15 seconds. What it does is increases your damage, or increases your damage by 15%, and increases your healing down by 15%. Pretty cool. Lasts 10 seconds long. I also picked up Rift Guard, which puts a shield on you, absorbs 5% of all incoming damage, up to half your health. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anytime you use a shadow shift ability, which is teleport, one of those 3 teleports, or the one that puts you forward 15 meters, you gain the shield. I don't use guarded steel at all, so the guarded steel portion doesn't apply to me. I also picked up Rift Barrier, which pretty much what it does, all damage absorbed by your Rift Guard, it reflects it right back at your enemy, so you're doing damage to them. So, pretty cool. Next here, I picked up Ruthless Stalker. Pretty much anytime you use your Shadow Shift abilities. I know it says plane shifting, but Shadow Shift or Shadow Assault, Shadow Blitz, Shadow Stalk, any of those 4, you gain 15% crit, which is pretty awesome. I also picked up Planar Refuge, which if you take too many mobs on and your sidesteps are on cooldown over here, then you have a 30% damage reduction for 10 seconds. Pretty decent. Helps you get through killing that AoE pack or that elite mob faster. Now back to the main juicy portion, Assassin spec. I picked up 5% crit chance. I picked up anytime you critical strike an enemy, increase your damage by 5% for 10 seconds. Pretty decent. Again, Savage Strike. damage output by 10%, crit by 10%. So you already know that we're leaning towards anytime you crit, you get a buff. Final blow hits harder, crits harder. I also picked up silent footsteps, which makes you pretty much negates the speed penalty whenever you're stealthing and makes it hard for the enemy to see you when you're stealthing. I also picked up poison potency, which your poisons hit harder, 50% harder. Backstab, originally it says 25% damage reduction when you're not behind the enemy, but because I picked up advanced flanking, it only does 5%. I'll get into that in a moment. Also, cruel vengeance, anytime you crit, your damage buffed by 10%. Again, we're focusing around crit. Serrated blades, anytime well, not anytime. Your weapons have 50% chance to proc. A bleed on enemy stacks 3 times, and it lasts 6 seconds long. So, nice little passive damage output. This is the awesome part. Stealth lasts forever, and so you cancel it, you open it, or whatever. Pretty cool if you want to go AFK or if you're on a PvP server. I skipped the other ones, and then I went Poison Mastery, which increases your attack power, weapon damage by 30%, and your weapon chance or your poison chance to proc by 30%. Pretty cool. So you have 60% chance to proc your poisons. Also picked up Durham Brew, which is a nice self-heal, and by default I think it heals a quarter of your health, and when it crits it heals for half, which is pretty awesome, and gives you energy too. I don't really use it for the energy. I don't really energy star myself, but I guess you can. Advanced flanking, okay, that goes back into the backstab. What it does is it increases your crit chance of backstab by 10%, increases your crit hit chance of anything like your assassinate from stealth, your forgot what it's called. Was it jagged strike from stealth, or your paralyzing strike from stealth? It hit 50% chance to crit. Reduces the penalty on backstab by 20%, so it's only 5% when you're not behind an enemy. So it's minimal at best. So you really don't have to worry about it. I also picked up a slip away, which is like a vanish. So if you take too many mobs on, you hit this button and you pretty much save your life. I also picked up Heart Seeker, increases damage of all assassin moves by 25%. I think that amplifies your poisons as well. I don't know. I didn't really look into that. And the final ability, Manslaughter. Your finishers have 20% chance per combo point to apply exposed weakness to an enemy. Exposed weakness, what it does is it increases your damage by 6%. You can either put it on your target before you open up on them from stealth, or whenever you're finding an elite mob, put it on. Usually I just do it elite mobs, rare mobs, or bosses in dungeons. I really don't worry about it, especially when you have Manslaughter, because it's always up passively. Other than that, the buffs I use are lethal poison, leeching poison because it helps sustain you again, and plain bound resilience gives you nice endurance buff. Everything else is yeah. Sorry. I only have one macro for the spec. What it is let me see if I can pull it up macro. I gotta find it. Okay, it's right here. I named it spam. What it does is it casts reprisal. Reprisal's off the global cooldown, so you really don't have to worry about that part. It casts reprisal whenever you can, because it does have a cooldown. Cast backstab whenever you can. Doesn't matter if you're behind the target or in front of the target now. That's pretty cool. Used to be only if you're behind the target it will work. And then Savage Strike, which is going to be your spamming ability. This can be good for AoE grinding, and it can be good for single target grinding, which is one reason why I like doing the hybrid spec. Oh crap! I'll just close that. One reason why I like doing the hybrid Blade Dancer Wrist Doctor spec, because these two amplify each other. Because Assassin's straight single target, Blade Dancer coupled with Wrist Doctor makes you have decent AoE. I'll say best, because your side steps will proc strike back a lot. Your Shadow Blitz, pretty good AoE. It's 45% cooldown though, so it's not really reliable. Pretty much, you just do it to get the stalker phase buff. Rift Disturbance, which is AoE on 8-second cooldown. But if you don't have stalker phase, it does generate a lot of threats. So you might want to be careful if you don't have stalker phase. If you don't have stalker phase yet, I wouldn't use Rift Disturbance too much in group environments. Obviously, if you're soloing AoE, use it, damage output, and it's pretty good. And it does a nice little debuff on enemies. It reduces their attack power and spell power, which helps you take less damage in the end. Other than that, that's my melee rogue soloing spec that I use to level up with. If you have any questions, just ask and I'll try to answer them. Thank you.